சரி. So we'll further continue. நம்ம அந்த mantra 8 வந்து பாதி பார்த்தோம் போன வாரம். சபரியகாத் சுக்ரமகாயம் அவ்ரணம் அஸ்னாவிரம் சுத்தம பாப வித்தம் கவிர் மனிஷி பரிபூ ஸ்வயம்பூர் யாதா தத்யதோர்த்தான் விததாச்சாஸ்வதிபிய சமாபிய. So இதுல வந்து we saw until avranam asnaviram. Saparyagat chukramakayam avranam asnaviram. So we saw each of the words separately. Saparyagat, all pervading. All pervading, everywhere. Now one of the meanings we saw, all pervading. It is all pervading is one way of saying it. The other way of saying it is everywhere is in it. This is what we saw the last week, right? Everywhere, which means whatever you perceive as different things, different places, everywhere appadina sonnale it's talking about space. All pervasive means space. So when we are saying space, it is pervasive in space, which means that whatever space we perceive, it is happening within us. Perception happens within us. So whatever is out there is in here. Whatever is out there is in here. The moment it comes into my perception, it is inside me. As long as it's not in my perception, I don't even care about it. The moment it is in my perception, it is inside me. So that is how I am all pervasive. Even if I'm thinking about a place now, if I'm thinking about Mount Kailash on Mahashivratri day, Mount Kailash is perceived by me in me. So it is in me right now, the moment I perceive it. When I perceive Manasarovar, the river, the perception is happening in me. Whether I see it using the 5 sense organs, I perceive it using the 5 sense organs, or I perceive it using the mind, perception is still happening inside me. So all that is there is in here. Saparyagat. Saha paryagat. Saha is it. That is all pervasive, means all that perception is inside. Everywhere, whatever you perceive everywhere is he. He means I. Shukram. Shukram means white. We spoke about the radiance. Akayam, avranam, bodiless, veinless, woundless, no wounds. Wounds only happen something that has parts. There are no parts here. Asnaviram, no veins. Why do you need veins? Why do you need all of this? To carry substance, material. You need substance or material to be carried. Blood needs to be carried through the veins so that your whole physiological functions can operate. Your body can function. But for this consciousness, you don't need a carrier to bring it nourishment, because it is self-nourishing. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam. Pushtivardhanam, self-nourishing. It nourishes. It is self-nourishing. You don't need to, which is why rishis and munis have been able to sit in dhyana for many days together without needing to go to sleep or eating, because they've been able to nourish themselves from within. They've been able to even nourish their bodies just by staying in that state of samadhi. So the nourishment happens from within you. Of course, we are not expected to be, we're not saying now we shouldn't eat, drink, or we should fast all the time, or you should torture yourself physically. No. What we are saying is, if you are able to touch that thing within us, then that's the source of our energy. What is the kind of nourishment we need today? Food will give you physical energy. Food and drinks will give you physical energy. But what we need is psychological energy and emotional energy. This is what we need. If you're in perfect health, physical health, it doesn't mean that your mind is okay. It doesn't mean emotionally you're fit. To be able to nourish yourself emotionally and mentally, you need to be able to touch a source of nourishment. We usually seek the source of nourishment outside. So if my mind is stressed, I want to go for a party. I want to relax. I want to chill out. But that's temporary. Or I smoke. I go for a drink. These stimuli are temporary because it numbs that part of the brain which essentially is responding to stress. So it numbs those parts of the brain. So we feel we are stress-free. But the moment that effect goes away, you're left with a hangover and the stress comes back. Now it's multiplied. Stress comes back because the thing that is to be resolved hasn't been resolved yet. At the same time, now you get a hangover or the ill effects of what you have consumed. So the nourishment that your mind needs from a psychological and emotional standpoint, that if we find that source within us, then you don't need a substance on the outside. You can all you need is to quieten yourself and find out a way to go and touch that. What is sadhana? Sadhana is essentially figuring out a path within you. Sadhana marga. Marga is a path. Sadhana is the practice of finding that path inside you that helps you go and touch that. And through sadhana, once you've recognized that there is a path that you've figured out to touch it, it's very easy. Any time of the day, you can just sit. If you've touched it once, you know how to go there. It's the same as when you're trying to go from one place to the other. First, you need Google Maps to figure out. You need Google Maps to figure out how to get there. Once you've figured out how to get there, then whenever you want to go, you know you've been there before. So you know when to go, how to go, you know it. It's the same way. These teachings are such Google Maps. They help us go and remind us that there is that thing within you, and they show us the path. Try to be with yourself. You do various kinds of sadhana, meditation, japa, dhyana, bhajana, sankirtanama, sankirtanam, whatever we do that so that we find that path that touches inside, that super, I feel blissful, I feel joyful. Once you've touched that, then then you find, which is why you will realize when you've had a very beautiful, for example, you've had a very good bhajan session, nama sankirtanam, or a guided meditation session, you come out refreshed. There is a certain feeling of being refreshed. Or you do your puja, japa, whatever. And always remember, during the day, at any point in time, try to go there. Visit the same place that you touched within you. So that is asna viram, veinless, means you don't need to carry any material for it to be nourished. It is self-nourished. And that is a source of all nourishment inside you. Shuddham, apapa viddham. Shuddham means that we're talking about is pure. Pure means nothing sticks onto it. When do you say something is shuddha? Shuddha means it retains its original form, its original color, its original shape. When something retains all of that, then it's called a Shuddha. Shuddha doesn't necessarily mean white. Shuddha means it is in its pure form. It is in its untainted form. Correct? So when I say this is Shuddha, it means it is not tainted by anything. At the same time, it retains its form, shape, structure, whatever, which means this thing that is there, this consciousness that I'm referring to as Isha, is undisturbed. It remains Shuddha without any impositions on it. Correct. See, right now, if somebody calls up and talks to me in a very depressing mode, and if I haven't managed my mind well, what happens to me? I become depressed. The mind has this ability. Mind is it's like a jelly. It will take whatever shape and form of the stimulus. If the stimulus is of joy, suppose you're watching a movie and there's a comedy scene, you laugh and your mind feels light. But if somebody talks to you with a very depressed tone or with anger, your mind gets disturbed. So the mind takes the form and shape of the external stimuli. But when you notice, when your mind is going through this disturbance, you notice that somebody who's observing this disturbance, and through sadhana, if you found that path to go and touch it, when your mind goes through this disturbance, and if you figured this path out, when the mind gets disturbed, if you decide now, let me go and touch that because my mind is getting disturbed, I don't want to be disturbed, let me go and touch that Shuddha Chaitanya. Then I close my eyes, I sit down, and then I take the path, go inside, I touch that. My guru said, it's like standing on the beach. On one side is the whole people on the beach. There are shops, kadla vittinrupa, poo vittinrupa, manga vittinrupa. So you'll have a lot of people selling stuff on the beach. Then there'll be kids playing, there'll be couples sitting, and then you have the whole city on one side. So when you see from one side, you're looking at the city. On the other side, when you just turn, you see the complete vast ocean. Undisturbed sea, undisturbed ocean. So we are always standing there on the beach. We can decide when to turn which way. We turn this side, we've got this beautiful calm beach, the calm sea, undisturbed sea, Shuddham. And then we turn around and then we engage with the world. This is something that we have to constantly practice. See, we have to remember the sadhana or dhyana, meditation, kriya, whatever we do, it is not a one-time affair during the day. It is not a one-time affair. Maybe because of it necessitates you to sit in a certain physical posture, you can only probably do or once or twice a day. But the important thing is, the rest of the day, you should know that, yes, I have touched that during my practice. During the day, I should go and try to touch that. This is what we should try and do. Shuddham apapa viddham. Apapa viddham means papa cannot touch it. Sin cannot touch it. Which means it is not just sin, neither sin nor virtue. Papa, punya, nalladu kettadu, vice, virtue, good, bad, none of that touches this, because this is devoid of any taint. Because this is the observer of everything. This is the one that observes everything. And when you're sitting as an observer, you're not even a judge. See, if you look at a judge in the court, he has to make a judgment. But you look at the witness who comes and into the witness box, all he says is, this is what I have seen. If he's a true witness, if he's going to testify as a witness, all he will come and do is, this is what I saw. No emotional attachment, no judgment. The witness doesn't make a judgment. The judge makes a judgment. The judge is the mind, the brain. But the witness who comes and just gives a record of the incident that happened as it is, he or she is not making a judgment. He is only observing and reporting. And this is how this, what you talk of as this consciousness or Atma, all it does is only reports, it records. It is observing and it's recording. That is all. So no papa. So similar to the witness, the guy in the witness box does not get legally. Legally, he is not bound by any. The only thing he is bound by is to speak the truth. मैं जो भी बोलूंगा सच बोलूंगा, सच के अलावा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा, whatever. ஏதோ சொன்னாலும் சத்தியம்தான் சொல்லுவேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த கீதா பகவத்கீதை வச்சு they make a take an oath.
गीता पे हाथ रख के मैं कसम खाता हूँ.
गीता पे हाथ रख के मैं कसम खाता हूँ. So that is the besides that oath that he takes, there's nothing really that legally binds him to his reporting. So likewise, the witness that is inside us is not bound by anything that happens in the world, anything that the body and the mind does. It is not impacted. Apapa vidham. Kavir manishi paribhuhu. Kavihi. Kavihi means it is all knowing. All knowing. Kavihi. The word kavihi means all knowing. All knowing means that which is all percepting, all perceptive. We spoke about that during Sapariyagat. We said it's all perceptive, which means any perception that happens, it is happening in its presence. Kavir manishi. Manishi means this is the one that also impels the mind. It impels the mind. It is the one that directs the mind, how the mind should function, or rather it gives the power to the mind. Correct? Is the mind functioning on its own? It feels like that, right? Manas control illa. It's not in my control. When I say when my manas is not in my control, it means that it's just moving on its own. I am not able to govern it how much ever I want to. But this consciousness, when you go to sleep, the mind is not there. If you go to deep sleep, when you go to deep sleep, for whatever period of time, that period of time, the mind is not there. So what is there that powers the mind? It is this. Manishi. Kavihi, all perceptive. Manishi, the one that impels the mind. It gives power to the mind. Because when the mind is not there, it is still there. Even when you're unconscious, it is there. Even when you're sleeping, it is there. Paribhuhu, same thing. It is para. It is above everything. All of this phenomenal world, it is above everything. Swayambhuhu, self-reliant, self-luminous, self-created. Who has created you? My parents. Parents have brought this physical form. Parents are responsible to bring the physical form. But when your perception goes beyond the physical, then you will realize that physical can only bring physical. Correct? Yes or no? And two physical things can come together and give only a physical thing. How can two physical things come and give birth to a non-physical thing? So this non-physical thing that is existing in me has been existing even before this form came. Because this physical form can only come through a physical union. And that physical union can give only birth to a physical thing. But the non-physical thing, the spirit that we talk about, the consciousness, Atma, was existing it is existing irrespective of this physical form. So the physical form comes into being and goes off. But that continues to remain. Swayambhuhu. I am self-born. I am self-born. Self-born in the sense, all this that I relate to, are, I am not identified by them. See, important thing, once you're on the spiritual path, you're a sincere spiritual seeker, you should slowly also in your mind disassociate yourself from any influences. Any influences means it could be genetic influences also. Parental influences, genetic influences, social influences, influences of your relatives. இவன் மாமா மாதிரியே இருக்கான், தாத்தா மாதிரியே இருக்கான். All of those things are fine when you're young, but then you should consciously work on trying to create once you create your sense of identity with the true self inside, the external forms, okay, forms don't matter, but some of these associations will also start dropping off. Physically, there may be resemblances, but then what you are is determined by you, not by your genetic influence. See, what happens is many years in our life, we leave the genetic influences to influence us. Rather, our genetic conditionings, we let it influence us and manage us. We don't fight against it. My father used to be a very angry person. I don't know, somehow I got it from him. So then I tell myself, it's okay, I continue to be angry. Why? I don't want to be governed by that. If I think anger is only causing me harm, why would I want to be, why am I justifying it by saying that I got it through hereditary, like diabetes, blood pressure and all that. Actively work towards disassociating this on the spiritual path. Remember, very important, Swayambhuhu, you are self-created, and each one of us have the ability to establish our own identity. We may have traces, whatever is good, that's fine. We pick up and we enhance. But then we don't want to be associated with anybody. You have to always establish this, your Swayambhuhu. You are your own self. You are your own identity. Yatha tatyatorthan. Yatha tatyatorthan. So here it's trying to say, when you are in this recognition of the self, then when you are in the recognition of the self, then you see the world, everything that is the way it is supposed to be. You don't want to change anything. You need to change things on a transactional basis because you want to make it convenient for you. You want to make it in a way that it helps you progress. But then you are not compelled to change things in the world, because then because you've touched that and you've realized that it's all right. Like we spoke yesterday in Lalita Sahasranama, multiplicity is existing. That is the nature of the world. If your mother makes mullangi sambar every day for the next 1 month, you'll run away by the look of mullangi. Why? Because monotony is not, you cannot deal with monotony. So the world being its multiplicity, it's having its varied differences are very beautiful for the transactional nature of things. But to also recognize the way the things are, that's the way the things are. That's all. Things are the way they are supposed to be. So then this compulsion to make a change is not there. It is not a compulsion. You go and share your knowledge, your understanding, your love, your care, your compassion. You go and share that. That is different. But you do it out of a compulsion that I have to go and change the world. I have to change 20 people, 100 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. Why are people thinking like this? I have to go and change it, or I have to bring a revolution. All of that. I'm not saying it's not necessary. There are people who get driven by it. But then the important thing is to recognize that you are being a medium, an instrument. See, when somebody is trying to go about to make a change and the change does not occur, can you still die peacefully? That's the whole idea. If you can't die peacefully and you've taken your life's energies to try and change something because you're compelled and impelled by a certain calling, you want to do it. And if the change doesn't occur, or whatever you want to do, then the end of the day, 30 years, 40 years of your effort seems fruitless. And then we find our life has been meaningless, because the whole action of wanting to bring about change, the compulsion, it is a compulsive act. It is not an act coming from wisdom or understanding. See, for example, even Swami Vivekananda went from north to south. Adi Shankara went to north to south of India a few times over. Swami Vivekananda went around. They went to spread the message of Vedanta, the knowledge of the Upanishads, Sanatana Dharma, all of that. There was a drive, and nature had chosen them as a medium to do it, and they knew it. They knew that, yes, I am a medium, I am going, I have been tasked to, Paramahansa Yogananda, his guru told him that you are tasked by Mahavatar Babaji to go and spread this message in the West. He went, he did it. But you do it as a responsibility. Some people, it may feel like it's a self-ordained responsibility. That is all fine. But the point is, when you do this, do you do it with the understanding that you're just a medium? It is not that you are trying to bring about change. No, you are a medium for some change to occur. When we are in that state, then we will not be perturbed or disturbed by the outcome. We will just do what needs to be done. The change that needs to occur will occur. So yatha tathyatorthan, all that needs to be there is in its own place, the way it is. Some act that you need to do, you do. Even Shiva sits in Kailash. He likes to be all alone. But then he needs Parvati to share. He goes into deep states of meditation, he's had experiences, and then he needs Parvati to come and share. He'll tell Parvati, oh, you know, this is like this is like this. He'll explain. Most of the Shiva Puranas, the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, many such works are Shiva telling Parvati. So there is a need to share. People will have a need to share, express. But that is just for the joy of it. Just for the joy of it. Not because I am bringing about a social reform. People who do such work, brilliant work, like Adi Shankara and Vivekananda and many such masters, they don't say that I am bringing about a social reform. Others say that you're bringing about a social reform. They don't think that way. They think that they're doing work that needs to be done, and they feel that, let me go share. There are 10 people who are wanting to listen. Let me go and tell. There are 100 people that are wanting to understand. Let me go and share. Let me go and tell. This is what they're doing. Later we term it as social reform, revolution, and all of that. But these people are not doing it out of the need to go and make a change. It's very important to know that. So when Mahan or masters are realized being say that things are the way they are, then we will wonder, then why are, if everything is like this, then why are they coming and teaching all of this to bring about change, a change in consciousness of people? They are doing it because it is a natural call of duty. When somebody is filled with something, you just share it, that's all. So, but what it means is, when they're sharing, it doesn't matter to them if there are 5 people listening or 200 people listening, or if out of 1 million people, 10 people change. They don't care. They don't keep count of such things, right? Because they know yatha tatyatorthan, yatha tatyatorthan. The artha, that is the objectives or the meaning that is given to things, are the way that they are. Yatha tatha, from that this word has come. Yatha tatyatorthan. Yatha asti tatha tatheva asti. The way it is, that is the way it is. Right? Vyadadachashvatibhyas samabhyah.
Anna, or chinna doubt. When we say that it is also the fact that it is a monotonous thing, right?
No. What we're saying is, when things the way they are, it's not about monotony. It is about recognizing the beautiful multiplicity. Things the way they are. See, what happens is, our mind usually wants to conform. We want things to conform the way we are. If some things don't happen the way I wanted, then I want it to be conformed. That conformity is what each individual, I want conformity. I want things to conform to my understanding, the way I am, my likes, my dislikes. Somebody else besides me wants things to conform the way they perceive. I am not able to look at them the way they are wanting conformity. They are not able to look at the way I want conformity. Somebody else is not able to look at the way I want conformity. When you look at it from as a witness across all of this, each one wants a different kind of conformity. But each one is trying a certain type of conformity. When a realized person sees, he sees the way, the thing that is there, it is the way it is. Some people are okay with it because it conforms to what they like and dislike. For some people, it is not. See, if for instance, you walk into a very simple example, you walk into an auditorium. For some people, it's the best auditorium. Oh, the air conditioning is perfect, the seating is perfect, everything is good. For some people, oh, the air conditioning is too cold. For some people, oh, the seats are not right. For some people, the entrance should have been like this. very rudimentary example, but I'm just saying, to be able to perceive what has happened to the auditorium. Nothing. The auditorium is the way it is. An event that occurs in your life is the way it is. That's the way it has occurred. Now, whether it conforms to what you want it to be, that is where the problem comes. I want it to conform to my understanding, my likes, my dislikes. If it doesn't conform, then I have a problem with the event that has occurred. Correct? Because the same auditorium, the way it is, for somebody it's fabulous, for somebody not so much, for somebody else it could be better.
But if it's a realized person, then for him being monotonous or being the same way that he is, like, I'm just confused with the term monotony, because I have associated monotonous is like your state of mind. Just be don't this thing. So that's also a monotonous
What
state.
you understand the question. So what you're saying is, being absorbed in the self can get boring at some time, is what you're saying. எத்தனை தியானமே பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது
இல்ல boring இல்ல, I mean அப்படி is that the way forward நான் கேட்கல.
No, you're right.
So BAU task மாதிரி.
BAU madri. Is it I mean, again, simple. How long can you sit and do dhyana? You get bored. 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. At the most, you sit and then you get bored and you want to do something else. See, the point is, you are not bored of the experience that you're experiencing. You are bored of the activity that you're doing. When you're in deep sleep, when somebody comes and wakes you up, you want to go back to sleep. You want to go to deep sleep. Correct? Of course, you can't continue sleeping all the time. And that is also because the prarabdha of the body, the prarabdha karma that the body has, will impel you to get up and do something. But the joy that you get in deep sleep, you feel like you want to continue that joy, which is why we want to go back into it again. Whether you go back to it 5 minutes later or 15 hours later, you want to go back into it. Correct? So what is happening? That joy is not a monotonous joy that you experience there. If you think there is so much monotony in deep sleep, why do you want to go to deep sleep every day? If you're telling, tell me, are you not sleeping the exact same way for the last 30, 40, 50, 80 years? You're sleeping the exact same way. When you go into deep sleep, it is the exact same experience that you have been having for all the years that you have been living. But we never get bored of it. We don't find it monotonous. Why? Because the joy that is experienced in deep sleep, it is not the joy that we perceive. If I love a movie, how many times can I see it? 5, 10, 20, 30 times I can see at the most. And then that's it. I'm done with it. If I'm doing an activity, I can do it 50, 100 times. When at the starting, I love it. Later, it becomes boring or monotonous. Monotony is associated with boredom because you get stuck into a cycle or a pattern. The joy that you experience in deep sleep or in dhyana or in samadhi is not a pattern. It is not a cyclical pattern. What you experience there is pure joy. And that joy, it's very hard to explain that joy. Only way we can understand it is through the joy of deep sleep. Think about it. So, the realized person is somebody who is in deep sleep while being awake. Think of it that way. He's experiencing this joy all the time. And this joy is ever Saundarya Lahari nu solluvale. What does a Lahari mean? Lahari means a wave. Wave never stops. It just keeps, new waves keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Waves of joy. That's why it's called waves of bliss. Saundarya Lahari. Ananda Lahari, Shivananda Lahari. A Lahari means a wave, and this particular joy, when you touch it, is essentially just a wave that keeps coming on and on and on. It's ever new, ever fresh. The problem that we have when I sit in dhyana for 30 minutes is because my body is not trained for it. The activity that I sit and I do dhyana is what becomes monotonous and boring, not the experience itself. Suppose your body, somebody tells you, I will make all the body discomforts disappear, like Ramakrishna did to Shiva, Swami Vivekananda came and touched his forehead. Touch it, you lose the consciousness of your body. You will want to be in that. Hasta Malaka, one of Adi Shankara's disciple, by his nature, he used to be in a state of bliss all the time. Nothing bothered him. He didn't even have body consciousness. Ramana Maharishi, classic example. Ananda Mahima. Because they go beyond the consciousness of the body, the need to be in that state of bliss never diminishes even a little bit. Given a choice, they may want to go rush into that and then sit in that. Our problem is we do this as an exercise. We don't do it as understanding, yes, this is the truth of my nature and I want to touch that and I want to be in that. We do it as an exercise. Okay, let me do this to calm my mind, to bring my blood pressure down, to bring my, so that I can do the next work better, so that my memory power increases, so that my mind works better. We do it as an exercise. When you do it as an exercise, then it will seem to some extent as an activity. But what the rishis have touched is not an activity, it is an experience. We remind ourselves of that experience and we go back, we sit in that experience. The body is now, after a little while, the body becomes a little uncomfortable. You get up, go around, do whatever, and then you come back and you sit, and again you try to go and experience that bliss. Slowly, as we do this, the joy of experiencing that bliss inside becomes so overpowering that the discomforts of the body are no longer constraining. This is what happens to a realized master. Through sadhana, over the years and years of sadhana, intense sadhana they do, because their guru has told them, this is the truth, go. That's it. You may not know it now, you may not experience it now, but this is it. I'm telling you, do the sadhana, do it. And they do it. They touch that and then finish. They don't need a guru after that. Once you've touched it, you don't need a guru. You yourself will just go sit, find your own space, enjoy, and be still within you. Yatha tatyatorthan vyadadhat chashvatibhyas samabhyah. And this, we've run over a little bit. Sorry, we'll close it in about 2 minutes. Vyadadhat chashvatibhyas samabhyah, which means this that is there within me, this consciousness, this atma, this aham, this chaitanya, this shuddha chaitanya atma, satchidananda swarupa atma, this that is there ever pulsating within me, this is the cause of everything also. This is the one that allots duties to everything, which means I am responsible for whatever happens in my life. I am fundamentally, eventually, actually responsible for everything that's happening in my life for all time. Because I am the one who's allotting my mind to operate this way. I am the one telling the brain to operate this way. I am telling the senses to operate this way. Problem is, we are not conscious about this right now. But if we go and we see within ourselves, this, call it energy, or call the self, or call whatever this witness that is there, It is enabling all of these things to function. It is enabling everything to function the way they are functioning. So if you think the body is doing something, the mind is doing something, it is not somebody else's fault. We tend to go and blame somebody else to say that because of this person, I am not able to be the way I want to be. There are factors on the outside, there's no doubt about it. But the main factor which is inside needs to be recognized. I am the one who's even inviting such situations, such people, such events. All of that, I am the one who's inviting so that I may go through this experience. Once I've gone through this experience, I come out wise. And once I come out wise, and then the next experience I choose, I start becoming more conscious of the people, the place, the presence, all of that. I start becoming conscious. And I allocate, I allot, I put my energies where I think is the right place to put. Because at the end of the day, what matters is the I. The association with the I is the greatest blessing, the greatest auspiciousness, the greatest Shivam. Shivam Shantam Sundaram. This once you're recognized in this I, once you associate with this I, there is complete auspiciousness. Kalyani, that is Kalyani, that is Shivam. It's not about running outside all the time. Once we are here, once you recognize that Shiva inside, that auspiciousness inside, then all the action that you do is secondary. You may do, you may not do, you do this way, you do that way. Kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum. You do it, don't do it in a different way. It doesn't matter. So, that is the shloka here. Saparyaga chukramakayam avranam asnaviram shuddhama papa vidham kavir manishi paribhu swayambhur yatha tathyatorthan vyadadhacha shvatibhyas samabhyah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि सदाशिवायेति समर्पयामि जगदम्बिकायै इति समर्पयामि सद्गुरुनाथायेति समर्पयामि हरि ओम तत्सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।